Hello students, in this video or in this session, we are going to learn about biological nervous system and artificial neural system. Okay, what are artificial neural networks? Okay, so you have learned about biological nervous system in your childhood. Okay, so there you would have learned about what is meant by neuron, what is cerebellum, what is cerebrum, what is your gray matter which is available in the brain, and what is the structure of the brain. So we won't go depth into that particular thing. So what is a biological nervous system? It is a most important part of the many living or human beings. So brain plays a center of the nervous system. Okay, so it is a main control system of our body. You know, right? And how this particular biological nervous system is made up of. It consists of large number of interconnected processing units called neurons. Okay, suppose if I'm moving on the road, suddenly any vehicle comes, I'll move aside. So who is telling us to move aside? So this your brain will caution you that if you go like that, you'll be met with an accident. You move that side. So how this response is generated? This will be generated with the help of the neurons, individual neurons which will process. They will connect in order to create the response. So this is your biological nervous system. So what is the size of the neuron? Each neuron will be approximately 10 nanometers. And total, how many neurons we will have? Almost 1011 neurons. And this will be communicated with the help of what? Electric pulse, electric impulses. So it will generate some electrical signals, and these signals will be helpful in order to communicate the signal from one neuron to the another neuron. So this is the exactly brain. You'll have the gray matter. This is your cerebellum and this is your spinal cord. In this particular brain, you will have the neurons. So this is the structure of the basic nervous system and a single neuron. So if you see here, so here it is the basic functioning element or processing unit. It is your nucleus. Okay, it is also called as the core. And these are the branches which are used to connect to the another neuron. These are called as dendrites. And the main only single link will be there for another neuron. It is called as axon. And the internal part of this one is called as soma. And this is your another neuron. These are the another neurons, dendrites, and this will be connected via synapse. So this particular structure will represent the biological nervous system, the basic processing unit called neuron. Okay, so what is a dendrite? A bunch of very thin fiber. What is an axon? A long cylindrical fiber. See, remember, it will have the bunch of fibers, thin fibers. It is called dendrite, but only one single long cylindrical fiber that is called as axon. And the cell body of the neuron is called as soma, which is just like a nucleus. And synapse is a junction where all the neurons are connected. So if you do see this particular circle, that is called as synapse. So this dendrite will connect to another neuron, this will connect to another neuron, this will connect to another neuron, and this will connect to another neuron. This particular junction is called as synapse. So how the neuron will communicate with the help of the neurotransmitter, chemical called neurotransmitter, which will help in order to transmit the signal from one neuron to another neuron. And all inputs from another neurons only received through the dendrites. See here. So here it is one neuron. Suppose if I draw here, this dendrite is connected to another neuron. Okay. Imagine this is one neuron. So how this will be transmitted? It is connected to a dendrite and the signal will be transmitted with the chemical called neurotransmitter. So this particular neurotransmitter is used to transmit the signal from one neuron to another neuron through the dendrites. So these signals are accumulated at the synapse of the neuron and transmit as the output. All the electrical impulses, all the signals will be combined at one place called synapse and you'll get the output. Okay. So once again, I'm going back here. So all the signals received by this dendrite, this and this will be collected over here and given as the output to the another neuron. Okay. That may be final output also, not a problem. And remember, these will only, all the electrical impulses or the signals generated from the neuron will be only last for a milliseconds, not more than that, about a millisecond. So we have to remember that all the incoming and outcoming signals will produced in an axon unless it have the threshold value. It should have some threshold. Okay. So the signal should be only this much value. It should not be beyond the threshold. If it is beyond the threshold, it may not be correct value. So this have to be done with the help of the threshold. And next one, action signal and axon of a neuron is commutative signal arrives. Yes. So at the synapse, we are going to calculate all the signals and you will find the final output, and that particular output should not be beyond your given threshold value. So this is the exact processing of the neuron. So 1 second, we'll go to this one open board. It will be easy for you. Okay, okay, no issues. I'll do this later. Okay. Okay, so this will see, no problem. And all are summed up the called soma. Okay, so this is your diagram. So here you have all the dendrites. So this red color is the nucleus, and this is large cylindrical one is axon, and this will be with the myelin sheet. See, if you see here blue color, here two dendrites are connected. So the signal received from this neuron will be connected to the signal dendrite of this neuron. So this particular synapse will accumulate all the responses and it will check according to the threshold value. If the threshold is correct, then okay, it will send the output. If threshold is not correct, again, it have to recheck it and reprocess it. So this is a working principle of the neuron. Now, what is meant by artificial neuron? So we have seen the biological structure of the neuron and how it is going to work and how the electrical impulses are created and how the neurotransmitter is used for that. So simply, we are creating an interconnected network of simple processing elements called neurons. So these neurons will be created artificially in order to make the network. So this combination of all the artificial neurons are called as artificial neural network. So what are the ANN? ANN are simplified models of your biological nervous system. What we are doing, we are converting the complete biological nervous system and we are performing the human brain kind of thing. Okay. And the behavior of a biological neural network can be captured with the help of artificial neural network. So how I am going to respond when I have a fire in front of me? So same response you can see in case of the artificial neural network. Okay, so if you clearly observe the picture, I'm just explaining you. So these are your dendrites. This is your nucleus. So this is the only single processing unit called neuron, where you will have the input. Okay, so you'll have the weight. Okay, you'll have the summation unit, threshold unit, and output. So all the input are the signals which we are going to send through the dendrite. And this particular weight will be in order to set your threshold value. And in the summation unit, how you are going to add all the input signals in case of the synapse. Here we'll use a summation unit, and how this particular threshold will check the output which is relevant to the required or it is not up to the mark. This threshold will decide. And if this is not working properly, again it will resend back to the summation unit. By changing the weights, it will update and you'll get the required threshold output. So this will be done in the artificial neural networks. Okay, same thing. You'll have the input signals and the transportation of the signals will be very high speed. And this will be perception, automatic training will be done for them. And every component of the neural will have the direct analogy of the biological neuron. So how the biological neuron will work, this artificial neuron will also work. Okay, if you depthly see the figure, so input are x1, x2, and so on, and the inputs are m, and weights, the related weight. See here, X1 is related to W1. So W1 weight is only related to X1, W2 related to X2. So on like that, you'll have how many inputs are there, so many weights will be there. So this is a weight vector. Okay. Similarly, the input signals are passed to the synapse, which may be accelerated or retarded. Accordingly, these can be accelerated or retarded with the help of the input, with the help of the weights. Okay. So how to change the threshold, according to the threshold, how to change the signal? This can be done only with the help of the weights. So you will get only the effective synapse when you are having the required weights and the corresponding larger weights or smaller weights. If you have the larger weights, you'll have the strong synapse. If you have the weaker weights, smaller weights, you'll have the weak synapse. So this have to be set according to the requirement of the size of the signal or speed of the signal. So the basic important formula for calculating your signal, okay, this is one. Input equal to, you'll have W1 X1 plus W2 X2 plus W3 X3, so on, W1 Xn. All you will multiply and add, you will get some summation. So this particular summation, this is the formula. Okay, you are going to calculate with help of this. Again, you will send this particular I to your threshold unit. And if the threshold say that this summation is okay, we can go with it is generating the exact output what we required, then we'll stop here. Otherwise, what you have to do? Again, you have to change the weight and again, you have to do the same process. So what is the best formula? What is the important formula? W1 into X1 plus W2 into X2 plus W3 into X3, so on, Wn into Xn. So this will give, and this is checked, verified according to the threshold unit, and you will get the output. Okay. So this thresholding function or transfer functions. So we have seen the previous picture. So this threshold function can be any function. So we have so many types of functions. So we'll have the hard limit function, Heaviside function, step function, sigmoid function, okay, soft limit function, linear functions. Okay. So one of the example is your Heaviside function where y equal to psi of summation I equal to n wi xi into v. So this I of I, 1 if I is greater than this threshold value and 0 if it is less than or equal to this threshold value. So this value we have to define. Okay. So this is Heaviside function example. So this is hard limit transfer function and this is signum transfer function. Hard limit always it will be on the positive zone and signum transfer function will have the both negative and positive values. So these are the formulas for the hard limit function. So psi of I equal to 1 if I is greater than some threshold called V, 0 if it is less than or equal to threshold value. Similarly, it will be plus 1 and minus 1. Yes, we have seen in the signum function linear, it will be ranges from minus 1 to plus 1. So if it is plus 1, it is greater than this particular value. If it is it will be minus 1. If it is greater less than this particular value. So sigmoid transfer function. So this will be calculated by this. And also this will be ranged from minus 1 to plus 1. It is called as tan sigmoid. And if I'm taking log sigmoid, this is your log sigmoid. So this can be calculated with the help of 1 by 1 plus e power minus alpha I. So this I will be again calculated from your weighted average. That is your x1 into w1 plus x2 into w2, like that. And alpha is the coefficient of transfer function for these two. So this is your tan sigmoid. So you can calculate this threshold value. If this particular threshold value is matching with your output signal, then no issues. Otherwise, you have to change the weights. Okay. So this is a graph for log sigmoid transfer, and these are the alpha values. If you see the alpha, for same I, alpha equal to 1.0, it will be here, alpha equal to 0.3, alpha equal to 10, alpha equal to 0.5. So similarly for tan sigmoid also same thing. So for different alphas, you will get the different curves. Okay. So what are the basic advantages? Okay, just I want to brief over here. So what we have done exactly in this particular thing, you will have the input, you'll have the weight, you'll have the summation unit, and you'll get the summation output over here, and you'll check with the threshold value. If it is according to your requirement, then you'll stop here, you'll send the output. If it is not, again, you have to come back, you have to change the weights. And what are the different types of threshold values? You'll have the hard limit, the Heaviside, linear transfer function, sigmoid. Okay. All these are your threshold functions. Now, what are the basic advantages for artificial neural networks? So why we are going to use? So whatever the logical thinking human has, which will be incorporated in your ANNs. Okay, so it will have the mapping capabilities. You can map input patterns to the associated output pattern. Suppose if I say that if you get a dog, already predefined picture will be stored in your brain. So whenever again dog comes, I'll map with that particular dog. Okay, so this can be done by with the help of ANN, and these can be always learned with examples. Already you have to train the data set and you have to test it for the data set. So without training, it cannot be worked. So already we have seen in learning and adaptation, right? And it will have the capability to generalize. So it will only say that it will work only with few set of problems. It can create multiple problems with the help of the generalization. And these are robust system and fault tolerant. If you have any fault or if there is any problem with the input, or if you don't have the complete input required for your model, then also it will work efficiently. And if you have the noisy patterns or the patterns are incomplete, then also your ANN will work. So this can be processed the information in parallel with high speed and distributed manner. And you can also have the highly interconnected network system in order to do this. Only the thing is the processing speed should be more of your system. So finally, these are the advantages. And coming to the artificial neural networks, these are very, 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 very efficient and provide an accurate result though you have the ambiguous and inaccurate results. Okay.